First of all, I'm really happy to meet this orchestra and to be in that fabulous hall I heard a lot about, but it's always a special moment when you enter in a new hall, which is such a success. I mean, the space and the shape of the hall, the shape of the stage, makes you wanting to work at your best. So this is already one big strength of the orchestra, is to have this space. It's a really great group of people, very willing. They are very curious. They are wanting to work, and they are liking to work. And especially when you meet an orchestra like Wroclaw with such a piece, with such an iconic piece, then it's very natural to work with metaphors and spiritual and philosophical ideas to get sounds. It would be very different with a more standard piece with no philosophical background, or a composer not like Mahler, which is asking the best of us every single note. So I felt very good with the orchestra from the beginning. I would say their biggest strength is their unlimited way of learning. I don't gain anything traveling. Music is not about losing or winning or gaining or wasting. I don't think so. I travel because my life is being a musician, and the planet is small nowadays, and the temptation to discover different cultures than mine has guided my life in the last 25 years. I have been always irresistibly attracted to be immersed in cultures that I don't have any base to understand and to act. Basically, when you don't know a culture, you have to react and to adapt. But I was always having this attraction to be able to act in something that I don't know. And I'm a musician. I always think that the most interesting thing to work on, to spend time thinking and creating perspectives, is to work on the unknown. So the known is the score, the known is the tradition, the known is the habits, the easiest way of making a passage. I've always been really more than attracted, like fascinated by the unknown, what is behind, underneath the logic. Very often in rehearsals, musicians ask questions. And they say, yeah, because this passage is the same as, 100 bars later. And you should be saying, yeah, and? So we work with mysteries, with the illogism of the creativity of the composers. And it's the same in my life of being attracted in Japan, musical culture, South Korea in Seoul, America, Great Britain, and now in Spain and Sao Paulo. I was a very happy flute player. I was very lucky to play in very good orchestras, especially the last one. I was 11 years principal flute of the Chamber Orchestra of Europe. It was the golden years, although I should not say this because it's still an amazing orchestra, so with no offense. But, we played with had Claudia Bado, Nicolas Arnoncourt, and it was a learning process to be principal flute in this orchestra for so many years. And then the change happened actually very naturally, so in a very organic way. Of course, I always have been attracted to be a conductor because, it's when you're a flute player in an orchestra, you see the complexity, And what I said before is also related to this, is there is no recipe to be a good conductor. There is not any things you have to know, the 10 things to know to be a good conductor. Forget it. To be a conductor is who you are and how things are suddenly finding unlimited possibilities to create more fragility, more strength, more impact, more doubts, more floating sounds or radical statements. And this, I think I did not feel I had to learn this. I had to experience this when I started to conduct. And of course, when I started to conduct, I say it without easy provocation, but I was really bad because I was acting like a flute player who had to do pow, wang, like I follow the conductor. And as conductor, you have to be inspired and inspiring. So logic and precision on the moment is not an option. It could be a safe option to make sure everything is together. But beauty is not about being together. Beauty is collective beauty with big orchestras is about being in the danger, about to fall, about to fail, that we go so far in our risk-taking of the concepts we choose to develop, about volume, about intonation, about length, with the bows, with the air, and that once everything is kind of clear, it can be only a kind of clear, then the unexpected is possible. And this, I don't think it's possible to learn. It's also potentially possible to understand with the experience. So I was very calm, aware that when I started to conduct before being a flute player, I was very rigid and very like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the music I was working for made me acting through music for music. So it was a slow process, and but what a journey. It's a privilege. There's a French poet called Paul Valéry who said, all these things we have to ignore to be able to act. And I put this little quote into the passage you are mentioning because this is typical a place which after, 1 hour and 10 minutes music, you just have this two birds or two angels or two little childs or an old person in agony. It could be everything. So the less we talk about, the better. However, I did rehearse a little bit more with the flutes at the end of this morning's rehearsal because they asked me, but how do you beat this? And when do I play this note? And how long do I wait? And my answer is not what they were expecting, but they got it, is that I'm not going to beat. And if I beat for the brass off stage, they need to know when to play the chords. I will do it as an accompaniment to what you decide to do. So you can decide to move, you can decide to wait and not to breathe or breathe long and take time. Because if we put this passage in context, what a moment it is, given the extravagance of the length of the piece and the orchestra forces, to have certainly for like 3-4 minutes, just two flutes making trills and little variations. No melody, just atmosphere. So what I expect of this moment is to make us thinking that we all come spiritually from the earth, religiously from God, and we all going back depending who we are, how we take the metaphors, back to God or back to the earth. And this is a way of already giving us calm and peace before the moment that we realized that resurrection is a way that to express that we want to be in the sky. That's what it is about. As a relief, as a hope, as a necessity. So there is an urge. It doesn't sound like because you've but there's emergency in that. Much more than ding, dun, dun, ding, dun, yeah. And sometimes in sound, I experience and I discover and keep discovering that the most essential elements we need to survive are not where we expect them to be. That's why I'm saying about this flute passage, the burning energy is much stronger than the loudest passage of the symphony, because it's the door to free ourselves. Of course, when you see Resurrection on the front page of such a big score, it raises questions. And when I was a teenager, I listened to this piece with non-stop. I needed, especially when I was on holiday, because I needed to have a grip of something. And this symphony, without understanding, without having all the knowledge I have today, but the word for me when I was 17 years old, to imagine a composer being an opera conductor, writing Resurrection, it was really a shock. I said, but who is this guy? I mean, how does he dare? Resurrection happens or not, but you cannot describe it. So I was intrigued a lot about this word. And then, long story short, I played the symphonies when I was a flute player, and now I conducted it several times. Every time is a new experience. And every time, the word resurrection has the impact on me of being an invitation to go to where we potentially could find deep inner peace. That's what is guiding me and what I expect when I conduct. It's either sometimes with such a piece you can make music, or in Mahler 2 Resurrection, my approach is more to let music come to us, and then the music is coming to us, and then the tempi, the colors, the freedom, the flexibility, the path to going to a kind of eternity is there if we let the music do it to us. So I'm not giving strong directions. The only one I am giving is let the music speak to us.